Hello, everyone. This is the mind of Lilith, and thank you for joining me today. I hope you are all doing well. So, today I wanted to discuss a couple of topics. The first topic I wanted to talk about is Love and Marriage Huntsville, the TV show. And as you guys know, Melody has left the show, and a lot of the content creators like myself have decided to stop reviewing the show because it's gotten really toxic. Okay. This is a well-known fact. Now, for some reason, over the past couple of weeks, maybe the past 1 to 2 weeks, I have been reminiscing about seasons 1 and 2 of Love and Marriage Huntsville. Season 3 was okay because that's when Martell and Melody's divorce was finalized at that point. But I found myself thinking fondly about the show at its inception, the way that it started. And in the past, you guys have heard me discuss or talk about why I love the show in the first place, right? It was refreshing to see Martell and Melody, two young Black millennials with a beautiful family, married with businesses, and to see their dynamic with Marcel and Maurice and Tisha and Kimmy. Even though the show has always been toxic to an extent, Tisha and Melody fell out in season 1. Martell's been cheating before the show even started. I missed the dynamic between the cast members. I missed the way the show flowed, the vibe, the energy, the intent. I just miss seeing that. And I don't know why I'm thinking about it now. I don't have any intention at this point of reviewing the upcoming season. It's not only because Melody left. It's just because I feel like the show has jumped the shark. It's gotten really dark, really negative, and unnecessarily messy. We've seen the collapse of many of the relationships on this show. Unfortunately, Kiki has passed away. Rest in peace to her. It's gotten really dark, and I don't know if I'm sad about this. Am I mourning the show? Is that what's happening? I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but I think when I take a look at the show as it is now, and I compare it to the way it was when it first started, that's what's difficult for me to reconcile and make peace with. The way that the show started and the way that it is now is so diametrically opposed. It's so radically different. And, I don't know if it's just me. I wanted to know if you guys felt the same way. Do you guys think about the show from seasons 1 and 2, or are you guys just done with it? Are you ready to move on? I don't know why I would watch the show at this point. Even before Melody left, I don't think she should come back until things change on the show, to be honest. I'm surprised she stayed as long as she did, considering the way Martell's been treating her since season 2 and 3 and 4 and so on and so on and so forth. I'm not surprised she left. And you guys heard me explain why I wasn't surprised in the first place. I'm not saying that the show needs to be revamped or recasted. Perhaps it should be. We saw this happen with Real Housewives of Atlanta recently, but Martell and Melody were magical as a couple. I'm not saying this as far as their relationship, but as TV characters, as reality TV show cast members, they were a magical couple. People watch the show for them, to see them together, to see them communicate. Their energy, their chemistry was just magical. And I think that's why so many of us were invested in the show, is because we wanted Martell and Melody to win. We loved seeing them together, even though we were not aware of all the goings on behind the scenes. And we do understand and agree with Melody's decision to leave Martell in the dust. Yes, I don't think she should get back with him. I miss seeing them together and seeing the hope and the potential and the plans they were making as a couple, as a family, to build their legacy. I just miss all of that. I feel like, I don't know, I want to keep it 100. I don't know. I'm not going to say it. But I just feel like, the show was a pleasant escape for reality TV. I don't watch hardly any reality TV, especially Black reality shows. It's kind of buffoonery and coonery, to be honest. But this show was different. It really was different. And I find myself reminiscing about it like a classic TV show, like a Martin or Living Single or Fresh Prince. Now, I have not watched or rewatched seasons 1 and 2. I've seen clips online, but I have not watched the show from start to finish from season 1. I don't usually do that with reality TV shows. Reality TV is like microwaved French fries. If you eat French fries, it loses its flavor when you watch it more than once. So I don't really watch reality shows, first of all, and secondly, I don't really watch reruns like that. Just because. Now, if it's like a scripted show, I'll watch a rerun, definitely. But for reality TV, for some reason, it don't feel the same. Because I guess reality is supposed to mean in real time. And so if you've watched something happen in so-called real time when it first aired, it's kind of weird going back to rewatch older episodes unless you're like, doing some sort of review or you're analyzing something. I don't know why I would do that at this point. But I do find myself missing the show in its former iteration. Right now, it's just hot mess and drama. I did do a private tarot card reading to find out about the fate of the show and what would happen with it. And the drama will continue. I'm not going to explain why or how, but it's going to intensify in the upcoming season to the point where, within the next couple of years, another couple may leave the show. And yeah, I'm not going to post that reading. It was just a personal reading for me. I don't want to post it because I don't want to cause more drama. As you guys know, the Love and Marriage Huntsville streets and the social media streets and the content creator streets are very hectic, to say the least. And so I don't want to add more fuel to the fire. But yeah, I'm just wondering if you guys feel the same way now about the show as you did in seasons 1 and 2, or do you find yourself reminiscing about the previous seasons, wishing things or wanting things to go back to the way they were? Am I wishing for things to go back to the way they were? No, I'm not. Do I want them to go back to the way they were? No, I don't. Melody was miserable in that relationship. But I do miss the vibe of that show. I do miss looking forward to seeing what they were working on as a cast, right? I miss the conversations that Martell and Melody would have about their businesses, about their relationships and things of that nature. The more pleasant ones, not the arguments and stuff that were constant. But yeah, it was just, the show has so much potential. I'm not saying that it's over now and it's dead, but it's just not what it started out to be currently. And the contrast is jarring. And it's, I don't say painful, but it's unfortunate. It is unfortunate. And I think the show brought me to a happy place or happy space. My personal life was okay at that point. Nothing radically was going on that was so difficult. But I loved seeing Southern Black culture, Southern Black couples who were married to each other and having Black children and Black prosperity and Black community and Black politics and business and things of that nature. I missed seeing that because I live in New York. And so we don't see a lot of that up here for the most part. I'm not going to get into why. That's another conversation. But yeah, Carlos King, when he found Melody and Martell, when they found him, he really found a winning magical formula. And I think that's one of the reasons why they have so many fans. The show has so many fans or stans is because of their relationship. Martell and Melody's dynamic in their relationship made people want to watch the show, right? And it's not just because Martell and Melody were attractive. Yes, they were conventionally attractive. They looked like they fit together energetically. They did. It's not just for that reason. But again, they had goals and aspirations and dreams, and they were in a beautiful country setting, right? Versus living in a big city with bunches of cars and drama. It was just an idyllic, peaceful, loving, warm Southern show that we don't see a lot of. Like most of reality TV up until this point focused on Miami and New York and Chicago or LA or whatever. It didn't focus on slow Southern traditional Black culture. And I miss seeing that. There's so many ingredients that made this recipe amazing. Seasons 1 and 2. Now it's okay, who's cheating on who? Fake ass Trisha and Ken's relationship. That situation, I feel like Ken is going to play it up like a Tyler Perry show. It's whatever with them. I don't know. But the fact that Ken is trying to come off as this, I'm a good guy that was done wrong I'm a good Black man that was done wrong by my Black girlfriend, kind of playing that up a little bit. I don't know. I don't like that angle, to be honest. I don't know if Sunny's coming back. I don't know if Destiny's coming back. I know Maurice and Marcel are on their way back, I guess. Who else is there at this point? Besides Maurice, Marcel, Trisha, Ken, Kimmy, Tisha. So there are 3 couples again. Melody's gone and Martell is still there, but he's on the outs with his brother, his frat brother, Marcel. I don't know what's going to happen with him now that Melody's gone. Now, I'll be honest, as I was reminiscing about the show, I was looking on social media because I had completely disconnected from the show, from social media comments. I was not looking at anybody's videos or listening to commentary or reading any posts on social media. I didn't care, right? And I was like, let me see what's going on here. Let me dip my toe back in the pool, and the sharks were swarming around. I said, I can't do this. There's too many sharks around the show. Too many sharks in the comment sections. It's rough. Shark-infested waters in the Love and Marriage Huntsville streets. The social media commentary, the drama is still going on. I just said, let me just pull back and let the experts do what they do, because I don't want to get involved and I don't want to get into any more bar fights with the people who watch the show because they don't agree with what I'm saying. Not that I care personally, but I don't have the energy to argue back and forth, and I don't want to do that. It's not interesting to me. I have better things to do in my life. But yeah, I really missed the old show, man. I missed the older version of the show, and I met some great people online, some great followers or supporters of my channel because of this show. I missed communicating with you guys about this show. But again, how do I communicate about the show in a way that doesn't make me feel toxic or drained? What else can I say about this that's not going to feed into more drama? There's nothing left for me to say about this show at this point, or the cast members that will allow me to sit back, chill out, and just observe without getting involved in the mess. And I don't want to get involved in any more mess. I don't want to argue with anybody. I just don't. I'm not attacking anybody. It's just too much. It's too much. But yeah, I do miss the show. And I wanted to know if you guys miss it as well. The original iteration of the show, not what's happening right now. Okay, now into my second topic, Donald Trump and his shenanigans. I'm not going to get too detailed about it, but let me just address this from a bird's eye view, okay? A lot of people, Black people, Democrats, Republicans, white people, Hispanics, immigrants, whatever, a lot of people believe that Donald Trump is the devil incarnate. Now, let me say this. I'm not a huge fan of Donald Trump or any politician, and I've explained why in the past on this channel. But I need you guys to take a look at this thing from a 360-degree perspective, a bird's eye view, okay? Donald Trump is not responsible for 60 years of the drug trade in this country. He wasn't responsible for the heroin epidemic in the 70s, the crack epidemic in the 80s, meth in the 90s. Now we got fentanyl. That's not him. He didn't do that. Donald Trump also was not responsible for importing millions of military-grade weapons into the inner cities for the past 50, 60 years. He's not responsible for that. Donald Trump is also not responsible for the FDA and the USDA poisoning our food. He's not responsible for the obesity crisis and the health issues that we have in our country. Donald Trump is also not responsible for the multi-trillion-dollar national debt. He's not responsible for that either. So what I'm saying is that this country has been under attack for several decades by the oligarchs and the powers that be. The civil rights movement and the Vietnam War protests and the Black liberation movements, they scared the SHIT out of the ruling classes in the 60s and 70s to the point where they've spent millions of dollars assassinating these leaders and covering it up for many decades, okay? Then they outsourced the jobs that these able-bodied men would be working at to take care of their nuclear families, to provide for their children, and so on and so forth, forcing women to go to work. These oligarchs who have run the country into the ground, they are aligned with Donald Trump. Yes, they're his buddies, but he is not responsible for what they have done. Donald Trump is attempting to fix a problem that we created. However, I do think he also has the intention of destroying the country and dismantling it. Donald Trump has Pluto and Mars and Leo, which opposes the United States of America's natal moon in Aquarius. Pluto and Mars opposite the moon represents a conflict or clash on the homeland. He was selected for this particular reason, and he is a mutable sign If you want a country to maintain the status quo, you would elect a fixed sign, like a Barack Obama, like a Bill Clinton, like a Joe Biden. If you want the country to shift in a new direction, you elect a cardinal sign, like a George Bush. If you want the country to go back and forth between the transition of the old and new, you elect a mutable sign, like Donald Trump, who's a Gemini. This is occult science. They're not doing anything that they have not been planning on doing for the past several decades. So what I need Black folk to do, or all Americans to do, is to stop catastrophizing everything, take a step back, and look at how this country has been going for the past several decades. Donald Trump is not the reason. The only reason why this country's falling apart is being destroyed intentionally to rebuild a new system that is similar to what China has. These trade wars with China is absolute BS. You know why they're BS? Because the COVID-19 virus was developed in a Wuhan laboratory in China, paid for by the US government, okay? This is a well-known fact. Whether they cover it up or not doesn't make a difference. And as a result of that pandemic, the American government has saved over $250 billion because that pandemic removed hundreds of thousands of boomers and silent generation citizens from the population. So now you don't have to pay pension and Social Security for people 60, 70 and up because they're gone, right? They unfortunately succumbed to the COVID-19 virus. The reason why I believe that RFK Jr. would be allowed to overturn the FDA in some way, right? And to put Big Pharma in check. The only reason why I think he would be allowed to do that is because the oligarchs now understand. They understand that if you have a sick population, then you can't tax these people as much money. They won't work as long as they can because their bodies are breaking down in their 50s and 60s. So you're losing out or missing out on 10 years or 15 years of federal income or wage taxes from your citizens because their bodies are breaking down in their 40s and 50s and 60s because of the American diet, because of American culture, because of the pollution, because of everything. So I think in their mind, they believe it's a good investment to overturn some of these institutions and agencies that have been poisoning the American people because, as I've said before, we are too sick, dumb, fat, and stupid to compete with the other developing nations who are healthier, stronger, smarter, right? They weren't plied with Oreos and ding-dongs for the past 60 years and fentanyl and alcohol. They were not poisoned by their own government. So Donald Trump is not the reason why most Americans are sick. Donald Trump's not the reason why we have a fentanyl crisis, a meth crisis. He's not the reason why the inner cities are effed up. That's not on him. I'm not absolving him of what he's doing right now. He is intentionally tearing down the country. That's his job, right? That's why he was elected. What I'm saying is none of these people are your friends. If Kamala Harris were to get elected, we would be going through the same destruction we see right now. Just a different flavor of it. Because Bill Clinton did not address the crack epidemic, Barack Obama didn't fix the meth epidemic, and Joe Biden did not fix the fentanyl epidemic. They did nothing to improve the quality of life of the average American citizen. Democrat or Republican, they both suck. So it is your responsibility as a human being, as a sovereign citizen, to make sure you are doing the best that you can for your family, your community, and your tribe of people, whatever that tribe is. Your tribe of like-minded people, your soul tribe, your creative tribe, or whatever, right? You cannot look to the government to save you from what it's doing because it's going to do what it's going to do regardless. You guys may remember a TV show called The Wire. And in one episode of The Wire, in one scene, Proposition Joe, who was morbidly obese, was greeted by his drug dealer, who was a Russian. And the Russian, I forgot his name. I think he was called the Russian. The Russian complimented Proposition Joe and said, "Wow, you look great. You're losing weight." And then Proposition Joe was like, "Nah, you bullshitting, right?" And the Russian says, "I'm worried for you, my friend. In America, supermarkets are cathedrals." He said, "In America, supermarkets are cathedrals," meaning the supermarket is a place of worship, meaning The way we eat, how we consume as capitalists or consumerists is a ritual. You are participating in ritualized consumerism. That's why there's a holiday for every single month. A holiday is a holy day, right? So what's the holy day? Spending money, consuming things, either consuming food or consuming products and services. Spending money, spending your energy. When something is spent or when someone is spent, they're exhausted. So you're here not to have strong, beautiful families and raise your children and to pass down cultural values that are spiritual and intellectual and communal. That's not what you're here for. You're here to consume. You're here to be a part of the ritual system of consumption. That's what you have participated in, and that's what you have been bragging about for the past several decades, conspicuous consumption. The myth of Black excellence, as I mentioned before, is tied to consumerism. It's tied to capitalism. It's tied to our proximity to whiteness, white institutions, businesses, financial resources, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, I'm not going to get into this too deeply for today's podcast, but I will be talking about why the Chinese don't give a damn about these tariffs. They don't. It's a part of a game, in my opinion. It's a part of a game to increase inflation for the average American consumer, right? Thus crippling the economy and forcing the average worker to work in these factories that Donald Trump wants to bring back to the United States. This was something that was discussed several years ago. I remember Peter Ziegel talking about the efforts to reindustrialize the United States. It may take 10 years to do, but this is something that was planned years ago. So now that our population is so effed up and poor, they can bring the poor factory jobs back and get rid of unions and get rid of the health insurance situation. That's the plan and the goal. But I'm not going to get into that too much today. Thank you for listening. I look forward to reading your feedback. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll speak to you soon.